Welcome to Jewish Boy Calls His Mother. I'm your host, Sadia. And this is my mother, Ima. Hey, Ima.
Hello, my little sweetness. How's my big man?
It's good. It's good. We were going to talk today about movies that were spoiled for you. And
yes, you and I have a whole history of that, don't we?
yeah, well, we'll start off with the first one, but it's like, for me, is more of like it was the thing I was holding on to keep to like being in high school was very rough because the schedule was so long. It was from 7:30, 7:45 in the morning to 8:30 at night. There wasn't anything I could really do on Saturday nights except go with my friends to movies. And when a good movie came out, like it had to be, watched in theaters. It was very hard to see it, on the computer if you could find it online, because a lot of times it'd be, recorded with a video camera and whatnot. And we were watching, it was Inside Man, and Inside
Yep.
Man was directed by Spike Lee. It had Clive Owen in it. It was a very big movie with a very big twist ending, and I got it like on as a cam view, but I didn't like it. It wasn't good, but the rest of the family saw it, and I asked everybody in the family to please not, spoil the movie for me. And even my friends were very careful. They didn't spoil the movie for me. They didn't say anything. They were being very cordial about it. And I was just about to finally go ahead and go to the movie theater to watch the movie because it was pushed off for close to like a month of avoiding spoilers. And you opened up your mouth and said, "Oh, you're gonna see that movie where, spoiler alert in case anyone's never seen Inside Man. Oh, where he hides in the back of the bank and he steals all the diamonds from the Holocaust." I'm like, "What?" And you just totally ruined the movie for me right before I saw it.
The problem was your sisters had seen it. I think I saw it with your sisters. I thought you had seen it already.
Ima, why would I have seen it if I was about to go to the movie theater to watch it?
Because we were watching it on the computer.
No, and I told
you.
you and everyone else specifically, hey, please don't spoil this movie. I'm about to watch
But you
it in the movie
didn't
theater.
tell me.
Ima,
And,
I did. You didn't listen.
you don't know. See, you'll see when you become a father,
I
you'll see
highly
when
doubt.
you get but
I highly doubt.
how busy you are. Like, I mean, it's the kitchen. It's meals for your family. It's laundry. It's making sure your kids have clean clothes that are sewn and look decent, and carpools. Oh yeah, carpool city, Baltimore, carpool city. Don't ask about that, man. Oh my gosh. There was one year that I had 5 carpools. So one time your Bubby Don and Pop were visiting, and they asked your father, and they said they wanted to know where I was because it was around dinner time, and they're used to the idea of good housewives. Dinner time are home making dinner. So they asked your father, well, it's almost dinner. Where am I? He goes, she drives carpools. She has 5 carpools. So they were surprised, and they said, wait a minute. They said, we thought the idea of carpool is so you don't have to drive every day. And your father explained to them, no, here in the Baltimore Jewish community, the reason you have carpools is because you can't be 2 places at once. And your kids all have different schedules. So you wind up with 5 carpools, 1 for each day.
That's what I find so weird, is that like there's no real, I guess, mode of transportation like a bus. Doesn't Beis Yaakov have a bus that takes people to places? And didn't TA have a bus as well?
Okay, here was the problems with I tried the Beis Yaakov bus with your sisters when they were little. And there were a couple of times that they missed the bus. I wound up having to take them anyway. There's also, the bus has a route, and based on population, it goes according to where the majority of the students are. So it got to the point in our neighborhood where there weren't too many Jewish kids living in our neighborhood anymore. And the Beis Yaakov bus stopped, stopped coming close enough to our house that the kids could walk. There was also the problem that, especially in the morning, it was picking up the kids at like 7 o'clock in the morning, which in the wintertime, there were mornings that it was still dark at 7. And the corner where it was picking up the girls was not really a safe corner. I was not happy with it. So I said, forget it. I just have to go back to, Carpool City. And TA had a bus. I tried sending Yosef on it a couple times. And so I didn't want him walking for, I guess, the bus stop was not in a very good place. So I would drive over there to pick him up, especially, in the wintertime, it was dark. And the bus 9 times out of 10 was late, that I was sitting there waiting for 45 minutes. So I said, this is ridiculous because TA is only 10 minutes away from me. So I might as well just drive out there. It's ridiculous. So that's what happened.
Yeah, because I remember with carpool that, like, by the time I was in high school, you would just take me and Yosef to school early in the morning, and then you'd pick me up at night. We tried to get into carpools with other people, but I guess it just phased out. Like, no one could ever like really manage it. It seemed.
Yeah.
That's something I kind of just noticed, that like it was fine. I mean, I walk to school and I bike to school sometimes.
Mhm.
I keep on thinking of just all the scheduling when it comes to, like, I remember some friends who went to Yeshiva High, which is all the way out in Silver Spring, and they lived in Baltimore, and how they had
Mhm.
managed to go ahead and handle that, which seems like such a trip. It's
Well,
such a trip.
there was a bus, but it left very early. It left like, oh my gosh, it was like 6:30, 6:30 in the morning or 7 o'clock in the morning. It left.
Yeah,
And
it's like
yeah.
it's frustrating because it's like, if you want decent education in Baltimore, you got to pay either an arm and a leg, or you got to sacrifice something. It's never that easy, from what I see with my friends and everyone else.
It's true. Hmm. Yes. Yes, that's very, very true. As a matter of fact, something came up. What was I listening to? I think I was listening to Ben Shapiro.
Mm-hmm.
It was Ben Shapiro, or no. I think it was Don Dan Bongino. I think it might have been, Dan Bongino. And evidently, there was a case before the Supreme Court about government vouchers. Like you do have some states and some local municipalities that are starting to give families in their municipality or in their state vouchers for any school that they want, to help, if they don't like the public school, then at least they get vouchers from the government to help put their kids in a private school. So the lawyer that was arguing against the idea of vouchers was telling the Supreme Court justices about how he had this wonderful Catholic school education, and they prayed in the church every morning, and they had such good guidance from the nuns and the priests and everything, and that the education was so good and so excellent, and how they learned their multiplication table so well and their information so well. And but he says, but my parents paid for it out of their own pockets. So Dan Bongino was laughing. He says, this lawyer was trying to argue against vouchers, and basically what he was saying to the Supreme Court would support the idea of vouchers. In other words, he's saying, that if you want a quality education for your child, like, people who have money can get a quality education for their child, but the people who don't have money will have to settle for a less than quality education for their kids. But the lawyer, the more that the lawyer was talking, the more he was, like, ripping up his own argument. He was actually, supporting the other side.
Yeah, I'm not going to get too far into politics, but I've seen that happen, where their lawyers would try to go ahead and stand for one thing and realize it was something else, which is always very funny and entertaining. But you were telling me earlier off the podcast about something that happened to you earlier today about finding a check.
Oh, yeah, yeah. What happened was I was in a parking lot of a store and I saw a check for $900 laying on the ground and it had been endorsed. I picked it up and I thought, oh, this poor person must be sick that, if she lost this check. So I'm looking at the check, I'm trying to decide what to do. And of course, I see like where it was made out from a municipality, a local municipality in this area. So I figured, oh, maybe this is an employee of this municipality. So it was it was a local government number. And so I called the office there and they referred me to their accounting department. And I told their accounting department what happened, and I gave them the number of the check and the name of the person it was made out to. And she says to me, that is not a number that is on our checks. She says, can you send me a snapshot? So, okay, so I sent her a snapshot and she received it and she's told me to hold the line. She's going to show this to her supervisor. And she comes back to me and says, take that check, rip it up and throw it in the trash can. She says, evidently it's a fraudulent check. Someone is trying to steal from us.
Oh, wow.
So I have a feeling this is, oh boy, that this is probably going to lead to an entire investigation in that department.
That's really cool. That's really interesting. Did anything like that have ever happened to you before? Where like,
yeah, a couple of things like that happened. There was one time that your brother, when he was in Israel, needed to renew his license, and at that time you could renew your license online. So I went online to renew his license, and this website pops up, and it says renew your license online. I go to the government website, I go to the MVA, website, and then this thing pops up saying renew your license online. So I said, okay, so I figured that's the portal. I don't know about all these computer terms, but like the porthole or the whatever, you're supposed to go to. So I clicked it and they said, ask for my credit card number. I said, okay. And they said, and then it said, for $1.12, we will send you a pamphlet on how to renew your license online. I went, oh. So I took it. So I went to the MVA and I told them about it. And they sent me to this station, this kiosk, where there was a detective, their computer person, and the supervisor of the MVA.
mhm.
So we got online and I showed them exactly where this website was, where this portal. And the supervisor says to the detective, that's not our website. They hacked in. In other
Oh,
words,
wow.
they hacked in to what's supposed to be a secure government website and put up their own website to get people's credit card numbers. So they thanked me, and the detective says, okay, we're going after them.
Well, what's so funny, and I spoke to a few people that like were computer geeks and whatnot, and I asked them about, why is it that like there's such bad security in government buildings and government computers, and they said that they have a very strict drug policy. So all these guys who are really good at their job smoke marijuana, and because they do that, they won't get hired for these government jobs, and these government jobs, that require you to really do your due diligence and everything like that. Like they don't really have the highest quality that they can because of the drug restrictions that they have.
Oh gosh. Oh no. Oh boy, that's interesting. That I don't know.
You know about that?
Strange.
Sounds a little far-fetched.
Do you know something? These days, with all the craziness and all the things you hear, I believe anything, because I remember, don't ask how many times growing up that there were controversies, like the Kennedy assassination and, the Warren Commission. Oh, Lee Harvey Oswald acted on his own. Oh, Jack Ruby acted on his own. And finally, there was a Jim Garrison, I think he was one of the attorney generals, and I think it was Georgia. And he was the one that uncovered the real story, that there was a whole conspiracy that was going on. And he brought it to the public. He went on television with it. He went totally public with it. And now, as you know, as the years went on, more and more came out about that. So, it's like there's all these things that, years ago you thought, oh, come on, this person's crazy. And then you find out later, oh my gosh, that person wasn't so crazy. They were right.
Well, actually, that's what's so funny. The US government officially revealed that like there are UFOs, and like no one cares. That's what's so funny. No one cares. Like more and more truth is being revealed, and no one cares. No one really does.
So there was some guy. Oh, they got. He had a program, it was Hieronymus and Company, and he and his wife, her name was Zoe Hieronymus, and the two of them were very, very big believers in space aliens. And this woman called them, who had written a book that she and her son had been communicating with space aliens, and that he drew pictures showing what they really looked like and what their names were. Well, that I felt like, I thought to myself when I'm listening to this program, Mister, why are you giving this crazy woman the time of day? I mean, it's one thing to say, yes, I think there's a possibility, but to say that you've actually spoken to them, sorry, no.
Yeah, I guess. It's just, I think they just find it entertaining. I would assume more than actual anything being real.
Mm-hmm. So, well, at any rate,
At any rate. So back to spoiled movies.
Okay, what other movies have I spoiled for you?
No, I'm saying in general, have you ever had like movies spoiled for you?
Well, I'll tell you something interesting. You know how people mostly when you go to the movie, you want to go at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So that you could see the movie from the very beginning. Well, when I was a kid, me and my friends, we didn't care. We just wanted to go to the movies. We didn't care what time we got there. We didn't care when the picture started. So we would go to the movies, and wherever it was in the movie, we would just sit down and start watching it from there.
That's
and then
so
we would watch
barbaric.
it, and then we would watch it to the end, and then we would stay for when the movie started again, so we could see the beginning of the movie and catch up to the part where we came in.
That sounds like total utter chaos.
Me and my friends didn't care. We didn't care. We really didn't.
Oh my goodness. Jeez Louise. I understand Otati's frustration now. I really do.
I was 10 years old. I think I was 10, 13, 14. I did all through my teenage years. I didn't, me and my friends, we really didn't care.
Would you still do it today?
No. When I got to college, was when it was actually when I was in high school and I started really dating. When I got right into high school, that's when I really started dating, and the guys would pick you up. That's when they would be very medoctic about wanting to get to the movie at the very beginning, to see it from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when it stopped, when I actually started serious dating.
Oh, because basically you started taking it seriously because your significant other was taking it seriously.
Yes.
But if you didn't have a significant other, you wouldn't take it seriously. You'd still do that.
Yeah. But the funny thing was, I remember going out with for the first time that happened, the guy saying to me, I want to get to the movie theater this time so that we can see the movie from the very beginning. And I looked at him very strangely and said, why is it so important?
Oh my gosh.
Because I wasn't used to doing that.
Oh my goodness. Jeez Louise. On a different note, I didn't realize, I kind of realized, but I also didn't, that like I was speaking to my boss the other day and I was saying like, oh, they did a Lek and a Schmeck. Like I was talking to him about like some kind of project that was being done. And I'm like, yeah, it's a Lek and a Schmeck. And he's like, oh, what? I'm like, oh, wait, that's Yiddish, isn't it? And I had to explain to him like, oh, Lek and a Schmeck means like, it's haphazard. It's a cheap job. It's just whatever. And it was just so funny because I didn't realize like how much Yiddish I actually use on a day-to-day basis.
Uh-huh. Oh, I remember being in school when I was in school having times like that one. I think it was the second or third grade, and the teacher was mad at me about something and told me that I wanted to leave the room or something happened. And she said, "No, you go sit down." So I said to her in Yiddish, is nish?" Yeah.
Be funny
Well,
if you
there was
said.
one time. What? Go ahead.
I said it'd be funny if you said gay cocking.
No, that I wouldn't say to a teacher. But when I was in college, I had Dr. Kranzler, George Kranzler, was my sociology professor. He wrote all those books, like Broken Bracelet,
Yes,
Seder and
yes.
Heron, yeah, a whole series of books. So anyway, there was one time he asked us about a certain sociological theory.
Mhm.
And he asked the class, "What do you think of this theory?" And I told him right in front of the class, I thought it was a Baba Misa.
Yeah.
It was regular Goyisha college class. I told him it was a Baba Misa. So
Baba Misa.
he says, "Excuse me while I translate for the class." And he says, "The young lady is using an old dialect of a combination of Middle German and Hebrew and European languages." And he says to me, "Das is Yiddish." And I said to him, "Ich weiß."
Nice. Yeah, I'm picking up on German right now.
Yeah, I know. I've been giving you high fives on Duolingo.
Yeah, it gets difficult because it's hard to translate, and like sentences get misconstrued and moved around and whatnot. But I'm slowly getting there. I'm figuring things out.
I'm curious though how it must be difficult though to actually study a language like on Duolingo, or without having a total background in the grammatical construction. Because at least when I do Spanish on Duolingo, I mean I studied it for 7 years, so I've got a background in the grammatical construction from elementary grammar. So I can pick up on it pretty well. But I think about people like yourself and like just going to these languages cold without a background. I mean, how do you
Oh,
manage that?
well, what it is that they have tips and tricks, and also they have they also have on YouTube. I go ahead and I watch videos explaining the language and how it's broken down. So
Ooh,
that's kind of what I do.
I didn't know they had that on YouTube.
Yeah, you just go on YouTube and type in fundamentals of German or fundamentals of Spanish.
Ah. So what inspired you to want to take fundamentals of German?
Well, I wanted to learn Yiddish, and at the time, Duolingo did not have a Yiddish option. And I always
Mhm.
found German interesting. So I was like, sure, why not? So I decided to go ahead and give it a shot.
Yeah.
Ja, das ist gut.
Yeah, that's just good. Yeah. But do they have Yiddish now? I haven't checked.
Yes, they
in.
do. Duolingo has
Oh.
Yiddish. Yeah.
Do they have it though with Hebrew
I think they
caricatures?
do. I think they do. I can quickly go check. Let me just see. Yeah, they do.
That's interesting. Well, how do you do it on the phone then? If you like, how do you type in the Hebrew letters?
Yeah, well, you can get a hold of a Hebrew, what's it called? You can
Keyboard?
Yeah, you can easily take care of that in no time, in seconds flat.
Do
Yeah.
you get the Hebrew key? Would you get the Hebrew keyboard on Duolingo?
Yeah, no, it's attached to your
So
regular computer. You can go ahead and do that. It's not that big of a deal. You can go on settings, go to settings, then from settings you go ahead and you change your keyboard to Hebrew. You add a Hebrew to your keyboard.
you can do it on your iPhone too.
Yes, you can.
Ah,
You
wow.
can.
Boy, my horizons have been broadened.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Alrighty. I'm gonna go ahead and gotta sign off. We had a wonderful session, but it's getting late and I'm getting kind of tired.
Okay, my little sweetheart. You have a good Shabbos.
All right, you too.
Love you, honey.
I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Jewish Boy Calls His Mother episode. Please like and subscribe our Facebook group at Jewish Boy Calls His Mother Podcast, and check out our YouTube channel, Jewish Boy Calls His Mother. I know you'd like it, and my mother would appreciate it too.